So, hey, how's it going, Mel?
It's going.
Yeah. So you were sharing off air with me that you had a little bit of adventure going on this week.
Yeah, lots of lifing happening, lots of adulting, lots of things getting in the way of the adulting. Normal stuff like storms knocking out the power in most of my city. Yay.
But it's wild that we say adulting, and it's like, oh, we're doing the things that we're supposed to be doing. We're accomplishing the things that we're supposed to be accomplishing. But 95% of adulting is ruining things and figuring out how to accomplish it anyway. You know what I mean? Like, you try to pay your bills on time, but for some reason a double payment comes out and now your account is in the negative and the rest of the bills can't get paid until somebody refunds something.
Right. I have the interesting experience of having a bill come in and all of the methods of paying that bill is not available.
Oh, wow. That's like my water bill. One of the things with my water bill is we've been trying to put it on auto pay for 5 years, and they said something to the effect of, because this address 10 years ago was known for not paying the water bill, we who live in the house now can't be on auto pay. And I don't understand it. I don't get it. It makes no sense. Like, yeah.
Wouldn't you want to be on auto pay if they have a history of not paying it?
I don't know.
That's supposed to happen. Oh, my phone company, they're like, you're going to do the auto pay? It makes it easier. That way you don't have to remember.
Right. And they're like, it'll save you $5. You mean of the $130 I pay you a month?
What's $5?
So for all of our folks that are listening, this is going to be considered kind of a rest week, an off week for us. We have a lot going on. Also in the United States, it's a holiday this weekend, and for those who do celebrate, this will be a little bit of a chill moment, and it gives us an opportunity to just chat for a minute, take a break from Babylon 5, which, by the way, I love the show. The next couple of episodes that we'll be releasing, you guys will enjoy, but we're about 5 episodes ahead of y'all, and where I just watched, it is a very revelatory episode that puts the whole series in context. So that's a little bit of a spoiler for y'all there to help you understand, like, this all came about through a couple of characters, and you'll be able to see the final character that is responsible. Yeah. So
yeah, we have a lot of people listening outside of the US. We have one particular country, but we have a lot of people listening.
Yeah. You know what? Let me take a look, because who did I say? Okay, yeah. So you're right. We are pretty popular with sci-fi podcasts in Sweden. The email said, yeah, what's up, Sweden? I don't know anything. I don't know anything in their language. But
I know a lot of them speak English.
Yeah.
English is a pretty popular language all over the place, but one of the biggest YouTubers ever, Cutie Pie, Sweetie Pie, PewDiePie. He's from Sweden.
PewDiePie.
And
Yeah.
the Click, who I like to watch often, is Swedish. He's in Sweden. So that's what I know about Sweden.
Yeah, I know next to nothing, but I am open.
I know they have unis. They can go to college for free. I'm jealous.
I know, right? I guess, yeah, we see a lot of the there it is. I got it. Your podcast, Voices in Hyperspace, has some good performance in Apple Podcast rankings. Apple Podcast. Well, what do you know? position 73 in the category of science fiction. So we're in the top 100 of sci-fi shows in Sweden. And so, yeah, thank you all in Sweden. Thank you all for joining us. And I want to say, like, this show, Babylon 5, it really gripped me as a teenager, and watching it, I watch it over and over as an adult. I think the itch grabs me every 5 years. I'm like, I gotta watch that show. And you know what? It doesn't get any worse. The only thing about Babylon 5 that I look at and I'm just like, really? Is season 1. Season 1 is the worst one, but season
I'm
2
recording.
through 5 are fantastic television writing, and it's something that I hope goes forward, to continue to influence television and video games, because it did influence video games, by the way. Um,
Yeah.
there's a couple of sci-fi writers, like TV show writers, that I'm hoping will kind of pick up, maybe not pick up Babylon 5 itself, because that's all J. Michael Straczynski, and I would love for him to do his show again. But or if someone else picks it up, I want him to give his blessing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But what's his name? Matalis, who did Star Trek Picard. Terry
Mhm.
Matalis, yeah, and Tony Gilroy. Tony Gilroy did Endor, and
Okay.
they took so much care to make that show special that I'm like, that's just what it needs. It's not just these franchises, it's sci-fi in general needs people who are going to take care to tell the story in very intricate ways, through visuals, through audio, and through the actors. I think the only person, I know this is being totally unfair, so y'all can yell at me about this later, but the only person that really comes to mind that is like that is Christopher Nolan.
Mm.
Like most of his important movies are sci-fi, and and when you watch them, you don't think sci-fi movie, you think this is a cool movie to watch. Um, like Memento, nobody was like, that's complete sci-fi. They were just like, no, that character is going through a wild thing, and we want to know more about this character and this life that he's living. And then the fact that the movie is being played backwards.
Mm.
And you're like, when you get to the end of it and you see what happens, you're like, oh, nobody nobody thought Twilight Zone, nobody thought campy sci-fi. They just thought this is a good story that I want to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
What's his other one? I didn't like Inception so much. It was all right.
Mm-hmm.
I like this black. I like his Dark Knight series. I like the Dark Knight series. Tenet was kind of 50-50 for me, and this is one of those movies I got to continue to digest. It honestly, I think Tenet was it. The scale leans a little to the overrated side for me. Mm-hmm. It's cool. It's really cool to think about, but honestly, I feel like he made that movie with Memento, so I could be
Okay.
I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong about that.
Yeah. I mean, it works better when someone actually has a passion for it.
Yeah.
And wants, like, actually portray it well. And also have a passion for storytelling and not just writing things to put it out there. Like, sci-fi gets such a bad rep because of the pulp, can't talk. Pulp Fiction, where like they back in the day where they were just shooting out all these little stories, and people who wanted to be serious writers would, like, if they wanted sci-fi, they would just write some quick story and publish it, and it would not be as well thought out and done as anything else was. They didn't take it seriously, and they didn't publish serious authors. So, and then it didn't get into speculative fiction until sci-fi and speculative was mixing more when I only hear about black authors being like more of the speculative, other than like Frankenstein author.
Well,
Like a lot of times, sci-fi and other writers was always just adventure and Captain
yeah,
So and So and Girl, blah blah blah. It was uh, us trying to tell our story in that setting that actually integrated the speculative. And now most sci-fi is speculative. You can't find a lot of sci-fi that's not speculative unless you go into like genres and they're just using sci-fi to teach science
yeah.
and history.
And
Which I love actually. But
I credit it towards people in the genre beginning to mature. They want more mature stories, and I don't mean like grown up stories. I think stories that have depth to them, like where we've gone beyond the superhero story or the action hero story. We're moving. We have honestly we have moved into the what if this horrible thing happened? How would we react to it? What what parts of the human psyche would respond? How would they respond? Is there a way out? Is there a good way to cope with it? And out of those questions, we get to see some good and bad stories. The better stories tend to be received okay, but it takes time. And over the years, they become like, oh, this was great. This was fantastic. This is such an underrated classic. And then the action stories kind of get terrible over time. Like, one good example. Do you remember Lost in Space, the one that came out in the early 2000s?
I did not watch it.
Yeah.
I think I tried to.
I
Because
remember.
what they've made Space three times. It's the old black and white one. There's the one in the 2000s, and then there's one now.
Yeah.
I have not watched
Uh,
any. I watched like maybe a few episodes of the original. That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
coming home after school and plopping down in front of the TV, and there was all these black and white classics that were on. Um, Twilight Zone, like Lost in Space, Leave It to Beaver, and a couple of others. And it was because it was cheaper for TV it was cheaper for those networks to run those classics, which we got hooked on. Like they were good classics. but but the Lost in Space, the one that was in the 2000s, Gary Oldman was the villain. I think Joey Lawrence was one of the quote unquote heroes, and no, not Joey. What's his name? The guy
Is it a
from Friends.
series?
No, it was a movie, but it was the guy from
It was a movie.
Friends who.
Maybe I did see it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up and see if visuals will trigger my memory.
yeah. But the thing about the movie, I remember when I was younger watching it and be like, oh, okay, that was kind of cool. And then I watched it maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I was like, what is this dog shit? Like the CG was terrible. The lighting was terrible. Some of the acting was terrible. I was like, what is this movie? This is not the movie I remember growing up or, remember as a kid. Um, you know, and some of
We're
those movies,
recording, and there and asked me, "What's so funny?"
yeah, right. And some of those movies age like that. It's like, you,
Yes, Anthony.
What's so funny?
What's so funny? Okay, so he, Legendary Black Lion was remembering an old movie that he seen that he saw younger and then watched it when he got older, and it was a very different experience, and that is what is funny.
oh gosh, he'll learn. Cause how old is engineering?
He's 10.
He's 10.
I was about to say this is like you going back to watch Paw Patrol.
Yeah. And not believing
Yeah.
how much you liked it. Like I used to like this. but um but yeah, a lot of those old sci-fi do age pretty bad. So some of them age really good. Remember the Explorers? I think River Phoenix was in that one as a kid. Oh, you have to watch it. Maybe we'll do a side mission with the Explorers. It's definitely geared towards kids, but it came out in the 80s, so it has
Oh,
some elements in it that are a little bit more serious. Um, they touch on abuse, but they don't really go deep into it. But it's something that people recognized even at that time, and they were like um, making commentary on it, you know.
mm-hmm.
But that was one of the good ones. There's a lot of bad ones, so I would say like with this show, even though the revival is paused, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. It's Warner Brothers, so the longer that they take to, yes.
Yeah. I think I've seen it. I've seen like I've seen that it exists. I never actually watched it.
Oh yeah, Lost in
Yeah.
Space. Okay, no problem.
Lost in Space or the Explorers. Yeah.
Or the
Well,
Explorers.
other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I mean, yeah, you are pretty much giving me recommendations.
Yeah.
But let me open up my file of notes of stuff that I've watched this week because I've seen a while. Oh, I have to read. This is not sci-fi, or maybe it is. Yes, it is.
No,
I'll
share everything. We're totally open
Street.
here.
I rewatched Street Fighter.
Oh god.
That was interesting. Like when it first came out, I was 11. So like action movie that's it looks like it's designed for kids. Like watching it as an adult, I'm like, why were the adults complaining this movie's not for you? Like this is if I'm looking at it from the perspective of it's the bright colors. I guess it was kind of clever how they tried to make a storyline for them in a time where there was no storyline for these characters. The characters were just character designs. So to make up stories for them for the movie was kind of.
I'm trying to think because by the time the American movie came out, because it's all video games, right?
So it better. Like, all right.
Oh yeah, it was 100 times better. But it was like they really didn't have story, so they were just kind of figuring it out. And
yeah,
but honestly that was martial arts movies up to that point. Like the best that we got was like these guys are the best in the world and they're gonna fight each other, and we were like, yeah, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, and it's not like we didn't have examples of this,
right?
Because they had better. Like we have Bruce Lee. This is after Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
So how did you not learn from that?
Well, they were trying to be different.
It also, I feel like, and back then people thought that they relied too much on big names. Like Jean-Claude Van Damme playing the American character made absolutely no sense. But then we didn't really have too many like big martial arts white guys, unless they got Chuck Norris to play him. That was about it. Like that was only white dude martial artists American white dude martial artists we had.
Yeah, and they had like toned him way down in movies.
Yeah.
Well, movies and television. What was it? His big movie in the 90s was Sidekicks. And I can't remember the kid's name, but the kid was the main character and Chuck Norris was his imaginary coach. Like he envisioned that he was working with Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris wasn't actually like his friend or something like that.
The actor was there, but he was not.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, they didn't know how to show martial arts. They didn't have stories for it. A lot of the martial arts movies back then were straight to video or movie made for TV movies where like if you watched it, it might have a cool fight scene or it just might not. Or it was a bunch of truckers who would fight and there would be stuff that didn't matter to people. I don't know. But
right. They were just trying to go off a franchise and I don't know. Another old movie I saw was Pitch Black.
Oh yeah? Vin Diesel.
Yeah. And I think that one aged pretty well. Like even the CG aged pretty well.
Yeah.
And like my critique of my personal experience was that normally I wouldn't watch horror movies But the sci-fi was so heavy in this horror movie that I was more interested in what was happening than scared of what was being done.
Mm.
If that makes any sense. Like,
It does.
how does this? Yeah, there's so much, and it was so realistic. It was very realistic, and I've seen videos where like scientists have critiqued it, and it makes sense, like from a scientific perspective. So, and it's fun with things, even with the Moors out in space. That was kind of cool too, which made which they did even more with the religious aspect when they did Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah, there were parts
That
of
one,
Chronicles of Riddick, like the visual design I thought was great, but the story, it was like y'all are really trying to tell us something here, but y'all just did it in the most boring way possible.
mm, I think I was fascinated with the idea of crusades in space, and the costume design will always distract me.
Yeah.
I will recognize that a story can be bad, but or it can be weak. Let's say weak. A weak story with awesome costume design will sway me towards it being good, towards it being something that I love. Like the spooky adventures of not spooky, the newest Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah.
some of it I noticed got a little wonky in the storyline. It's like, why are y'all doing this? Or y'all could have did this a different way. But the costume design was just so well done and over the top, and I was too fascinated by it to care that the story didn't make any sense.
Hmm.
It's like if I'm not paying attention to the story, I can pay attention to the details of the costumes.
You
And
know,
that's just me.
and you know that's kind of the thing that bothers me about some of these franchises, where not just the franchises, some of the movies, they will spend they'll spend a good amount of time on art direction and the costuming and making everybody look cool, but then
Hmm.
like the actual acting, um the things that make this movie move forward aren't so good, and it it disappoints me. Which another thing that
Well,
disappoints me too, like the example is Bruce Willis. He did a movie, before he retired from acting due to his illness.
hmm
He did a lot of movies because I think he knew what was happening, and he was like, "Let me get as much as I can done before I can't do it anymore." And there was one movie, I can't remember the name of it. It's a sci-fi movie, and you could probably find it on Prime. I wish I could remember the name of it, but they used assets from a Halo Reach commercial for the armor. Yeah, for real. For the armor for the people in the movie, and it was so distracting to me because I'm a big Halo fan, and I'm looking like they're wearing Mjolnir armor and they're using it all wrong. And now I don't know if I can take this movie serious because it looks like it. It's one thing to reuse assets because they do that all the time. It's another thing to like not change them to make them unique, and that's what.
right,
Yeah.
right. Like paint it, add some stuff to it, take some stuff off or something. Yeah, or just use pieces of it and mix and match it. Like there's so many creative ways that you could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anything is too weak in a story or in the production, overall production, another good example of the costume design not matching the storyline would be Black Adam.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Black Adam, like literally when I did my YouTube video on Black Adam that may or may not come out soon, depending on what my
Right.
editing software wants to do.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
I literally went through a list of all the things that I would work with in order to make the story better. So like they didn't they had all the elements that they could have used to invest you in the characters and just didn't do it. Like they were too busy showing off with the special effects and the fighting and stuff. Like him using the superpowers and fighting and throwing people and stuff was all pretty well done. The costume designs were awesome.
Yeah.
But no, us care about these people. Like it might as well have been a runway with with fighting in it. Let's just do fighting runway, and that would have been better. Like if you just told me it was a fashion show and they're going to fight in the middle of the fashion show, I'm there. That don't tell me it's a movie because it's not.
You know what's interesting though? This Black Adam was helmed by The Rock, and honestly, I kind of feel like that's his thing. He wants to show off like the people. He kind of has this old school action star approach to things. You know, show off the physique, show off the cool moves, show off the action. And I think, unfortunately, if you don't have the right director to help you with that, it can come across as just really boring or cheesy. You know?
Right. Because like there were there were too many scenes where it just looked like they put in his contract where they have to show off his neck muscles.
Oh God. Yeah.
It's like make sure you show them how big my neck muscles are.
And honestly,
Some of
like
the
there's not a lot of actors that that inhabit that action hero space, like the big muscle action hero action star. Because I mean, there was Arnold, there was Sylvester Stallone, there was Dolph Lundgren, there was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
we don't get them anymore. Like with Jason Stamos, he's not that big.
And also,
Like I mean,
he kind of goes back and forth. Yeah, he kind of goes back and forth in the types of movies that he does too. I like him more in the gangster films. I don't like him in the action films.
I
so
just
much.
I just saw the second what's his name? The shark movie. Megalodon
Oh
today.
my God.
And I thought the supporting characters who were smaller than him did a pretty awesome job. Like the main doctor that runs everything, the Chinese guy, which I wish I was paying attention to the movie to like say who he is. So I thought I really liked his action scenes, especially since he was being a scientist about it. Um, Probably going back to the fact that I like Pitch Black and Chronicles of Red because he's not, and he used to be big, Vin Diesel,
Yeah.
but
Well, yeah.
yeah, get the big action guys anymore. But it also makes me think of the parallel movie to Black Adam, which was Shazam,
Yeah.
and that actor wore a
Levi, I can't remember his last name, but yeah.
yeah, he wore a muscle suit.
Yeah.
And it was okay.
Yeah, it was
Like, and yeah, it was kind of goofy and stuff because he technically acted like a kid in the muscle suit. It's a big guy, but it didn't take away. The muscle suit was done well.
yeah.
Like, and having the big, huge, muscly guys is kind of that whole body dysmorphia thing that guys can get because they think, oh, I need to be big, I need to be big. Or I knew a guy who was like so insecure about his body. I'm like, you look great. Like he worked out, he loved lifting, he was bragging about his lifting and stuff.
Mhm.
I'm like, you look awesome. And he's like, I'm fat and I'm small. No, you're not.
Yeah, that is one of the pitfalls with certain types. And it's not just like the media. I think a lot of times like actors and directors are trying to achieve a certain approach to the art, and they're not saying everybody has to look like this. They're saying like, no, the person that The Rock is acting like looks like this. Remember G.I. Joe 2? They put The Rock in it, and it made perfect sense. And it was like, yeah, the G.I. Joe characters in the early 90s looked like little muscle men figures, so it made sense. Granted, they like put Bruce Willis in there and a bunch of other characters, a bunch of other actors, and it was like, yeah, that's kind of interesting. It's a giant toy commercial, so yeah,
Right.
but it doesn't mean go and try to be that person. Growing up, I had that kind of indoctrination in me, and it was like, when I grow up, I'm going to be 6 feet tall. I'm going to work out all the time, and I'm going to be buff. And I'm like, right now in my 40s, I am 5'6". um,
Nothing wrong
no,
with that.
nobody's gonna ever mistaken me for an action star, but that's actually kind of cool. I like it. I like being, compact. I do, and also I like to work out a lot. Like it's my happy place.
Yeah. Like it's very noticeable for girls. I mean, it's not in the action thing, but like genre. But especially like in sci-fi, we don't really get too many girls that are normal size.
Right.
Like I was watching quite a few, even like I just noticed rewatching Star Trek Voyager, like how super thin everyone is. And
Yeah.
the almost nearly impossible look of Seven of Nine, which she doesn't even look like
She did,
that. She's clearly
like she
wearing
didn't. She
corset.
was, yeah, she was wearing a a, a ridiculous catsuit that like crushed her rib cage.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
she's wearing a corset, obviously, a
yeah.
specialized sci-fi corset. But like they were all very, very small.
Yeah.
Like I didn't notice how thin Janeway was.
I
She
know.
was
Looking at,
pretty.
yeah, looking at Kate from back then and just the couple of shows that she had done around the show, it's like, wow, she's like kind of a toothpick.
Yeah, I didn't notice it as a kid.
Yeah.
And like I think like Falana was the biggest one and she's tiny.
Yeah.
Oh, like maybe she just had like the slightly muscular arms. She
Yeah,
maybe had a
they wanted her to be the
because she's a Klingon.
she's a Klingon, but they casted a Latina, so they were kind of playing off of a
Like
stereotype
I
about
thought.
that too.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I saw an interview which you said that she was half black and half white,
Really?
which helped her with the story. Yeah, because
Oh,
she's mixed.
okay. So
Lana.
I got that totally wrong.
Which she could also be Latina too, because Latinas are mixed too.
Yeah, well, it depends
It's
on what type of Latina. Like, anyway,
like
I'm
my grandfather from Cuba. He is um Afro-Cuban and
yeah,
white Cuban.
yeah,
So yeah. Uh,
yeah. So, but I'm cool with being
happy.
wrong. I'm cool with being wrong with that. We can, I can let my assumptions be corrected. um, what was I gonna say? So, um, kind of looking forward to a couple of things. I know this week was the finale of Ironheart, and I had a great time watching that show. And there's a lot coming out now that it's July. We got Fantastic Four coming out this month and Superman. Do you have any thoughts about those franchises? Ironheart's, Fantastic Four, Superman, or is there anything else that's on your radar?
I've only watched the first three episodes of Ironheart. I'm gonna get on it. I really liked the first three episodes. I found it enormously relatable. I find it quite triggering to hear people complain about it. It reminds me of how like a lot of people will just blame women, especially black women, for their situations.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're trying to do more than you. It's the whole crabs in the barrel thing. That's all I hear every time I hear someone complain about it or laugh at it or say that it's crap. Um, it's like I actually someone on TikTok I responded to. They said that why can't these shows let black people act like black people? And I'm like,
That
why are you being
what does
racist?
that mean?
Show? Right. I'm like, black people don't. And his example was the tyro the explosive expert trying on the cape, the hood.
Yeah,
And I'm like, and he's like, black people when it would have saw what that thing did and never touched it because we don't be doing dangerous stuff like that. You're talking about someone who plays with explosives.
I know.
It doesn't matter what her skin color is. And they were like, and then Riri talked back to her mom and would like just um like the explosive emotions that she had when it and I'm looking at it from the perspective of she's talking about like losing her family and her mom is trying to talk to her about the grieving process. She doesn't know that she thinks that she's not grieving, but she really is.
Yeah.
And it also, to me, feeds into some of the irrational decisions that she's making. Also, she's young. Like,
Yeah, she's
she's
like
still college.
she's college age, but I'm thinking she still might be a teenager.
Right, because she is a genius. Like, she probably
Yeah.
finished high school a lot faster than normal. She's still very young. She's under 25.
Yeah, she's under 25. Maybe okay, so maybe if she went to college at 16, she might be 20 by the time the show starts. The actress has a very youthful look. She is a petite woman, and
Mm-hmm.
she has a highly animated face, which helps her acting a lot, which is something that I think has been missing from certain black actors and actresses. Like, some don't really learn to act with their face, and she has.
Mm-hmm.
She is emoting very well. Like, she has range, even though she's
Mm-hmm.
like in the show, she's under anxiety the entire time, so that has to be stressful.
Right.
If
Right.
we want to compare, and I'll make this comparison, I'm doing this just like, off the fly. I haven't written anything about it yet, but between like the actress from Lionheart and Letitia Wright, I think the actress from Lionheart has a little bit more range. I think Letitia Wright has more depth with her acting, because I've seen her act in other stuff, and she's awesome. But I think her range peaks at a certain place. Because she was the lead actress for Black Panther 2, and
Mhm.
parts of it made me think like, oh man, they really are trying to get her to carry this movie, but she just can't. Most of the gravitas went to Angela Bassett, and that's because she can act with range
And,
and with her face.
and she has seniority and experience. Like,
Yeah, she knows.
you know how old she is?
Yeah, I do, and she's
She
absolutely
doesn't look at it all, which is, crazy for me to say because no one believes I'm in my 40s.
right.
Well, I just got 40s, but
Yeah, Angela
I'm still young.
Bassett is 66 years old, and yeah. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Let's just say she's a gorgeous
Well,
woman.
in okay, I'm gonna say this in 911. Is it 911? Yeah, she's in 911, which is a spinoff of Chicago Fire because they all together. But like, she plays a mom to some kids, like engineering's age kids, like 10, maybe as old as 14.
Hmm.
Like, you should be grandma, but she's
Yeah.
not. Really not. Like, believable as a grandma in Wakanda, yes, but in America, not typically. No. Um, it happens though. We don't say black don't crack for no reason. I
Right.
mean, my mom could pass for 30 and she's 70. So
Wow. See, yeah. Um,
yeah.
but I think honestly, my overall view of Ironheart is it's a good 7 out of 10. It came out in that era of Marvel TV shows where they were trying to pump out a lot of stuff, but it looked like that when this show came out, they were trying to put some care into it, and it just got lost in the shuffle. Because like, the production is great, the sound is great, the acting is great. Even some of the scenes that happen on the volume are great. It's just that certain things happen where you're like, they're not really by the lake, are they? That's on a stage. Okay, but that looks
Well,
good. It looks good.
yeah. Well, like, I was it you that told me like a lot of the production got rushed because of the strike,
A lot of production
and
got
then
rushed because of the strike, but also Disney just um it was a Bobby Paycheck. They call him Paycheck. Chapek. He was like, let's just put everything out. Let's do it now. Let's boost this service. And I think when they started getting directors and producers together for Ironheart, they were like, no, we gotta like really take care of this, because if we don't, it's gonna be trash. So they attached Ryan Coogler as a as a producer. I can't remember who the director is. I'm sorry, y'all. This is all bad. But they attach some people who are doing good. I will say the negatives of the show are in the writing. There's a lot of telling people and not showing people some stuff, and it's not the character stuff; it's the plot stuff.
Right.
They're yeah,
It's got to be a way. I think that's part of the rushing part.
Yeah.
Like if you don't over it and assess what you've done, it's going to look like that. Like my book, I had to go over maybe 5 times before before I send it to a beta reader, and then go over it twice after the beta reader, and went over it twice after the editor got it after the beta reader to like make sure. And I'm still like in the back of my mind, did I fix that? Did I fix that? Like, like did I show too much? Did I tell too much? Like, did the telling parts actually make sense? Like, and I'm doing it by myself. Y'all clearly have a team. You have a team of writers, director, producer, all these people, even the actors on the stage could be like, oh, that was something about Sinners. Michael B. Jordan, he's totally comfortable with going to the director and being like, this don't sound real. And he allowed them to come to him like, this isn't what someone would really say in this situation or how they would say it. And they would be like a team with it, which is pretty awesome. But if you're not doing that, and especially if you're rushing it, you're going to be more concerned about getting through it than you are with actually perfecting your art.
So there's also, you have to remember too, like the Disney executives were way too involved with a lot of this because they're trying to make sure that like we put in hundreds of millions of dollars into the show, so we need to get it back. So they're just like interfering where they can because the show was only 6 episodes. 6 episodes is intolerable. They should have gone 12. That would have given them a little bit of time to show people what this character is doing and why. Like I feel like, and you
just make a movie.
Yeah, well, there's the movie too. They could have made a movie, but I'm glad they didn't because they would have just ruined that. But there's a lot of heart in this character that does come through. And there's a couple of scenes, granted you haven't gotten there yet, in the last 3 episodes, there's a couple of scenes where you're like, oh, that's why she's doing this. Oh, that's where she got that idea. Oh, that's where the name comes from. It's a lot of stuff that you got to catch. And it's not campy either. It's not done badly. It's done in a way where if you pay attention, you'll get it. But also it's covered up by a bunch of other stuff too.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then
I guess.
Yeah. And as far as the ending, I don't want to spoil anything for you. Let's just say it does not get a proper ending. That's the best that I can say without ruining the whole show for you.
You know what? I just asked that question on something somewhere. Like, it was on TikTok. Can you? No, I haven't posted it yet. I'm getting ahead of my.
Oh, okay.
Because I recorded like a whole bunch of videos on the weekend when my hair and makeup was all done. So, like the question I presented was, is there ever, when are endings done well? Like it's either rushed or you get to go on for longer than you expected. Kind of like you said with Babylon 5, the last season wasn't as well.
That's true.
Like because they didn't know they were going to keep getting to go. They didn't plan for that. Like Babylon 5 is very well planned out, and then like they have to suddenly go with a whole nother direction with something because it's making money. Or the opposite, where you get disappointed because they just dropped the series and they have to rush to close it. Like La Brea, because of the strike, they had to like cut the season in the middle of the season. So they just all of a sudden they're back in their right time and everyone gets to go home. Families and go to the hospital. Like
they're like
open ends that needed to close up, and they just closed all of them at once. Just slammed the door in front of you. Like, what are y'all doing? And I'm like, you're striking. That's what you're doing.
Right. Like, let's hurry up and get out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it happens a whole lot in anime series where it's like, stop making Dragon Balls. I've been making Dragon Balls for 60 years. Stop it.
Stop it. Well, from what I understand, One Piece has several thousands of episodes, and so I just don't want to start watching that.
One Piece is one of the longest of a series. One of the longest. It's not the longest. It's not as long as Case Close. Case Close is okay. Case Close, it has that whole repetitive turnover type feel where like time doesn't actually change, and every episode is like, the case. We solved the case. Okay, next episode we get a case because we're following a private detective, so we're just following each of his jobs. So it kind of works with that. But when you have a story where you're venturing off into other settings, other scenes, other like people are advancing, like character development is happening, and all this other stuff, you can't do that with Case Closed. You're not doing any of that. Like there's obviously some character development that can happen, and they just never do it. And there's a lot of like romance animes that'll do that. It's like, oh, he has a crush on this girl. Are they gonna hook up? And then every episode is, are they gonna hook up? Are they gonna hook up? They never do. It just the whole series is based on teasing you about them flirting and maybe hooking up, and they never do. And there's nothing else to the series. So, the Japan be pumping out anime like it's water. So
Yeah. Well, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
One of the biggest things about Ironheart that's not about Ironheart is I guess the representation that it gives, and how like geeks are different. Like female geeks are different.
Oh.
And when we get representation, it's always seen as a negative. Everyone's always mad at it. But like we can get with Riri, we get the female black experience, but it's from a geek perspective. It's like I have the potential. I like things within a area that's not typical of people like me, or that's easy to do in my community. And she's working towards where her power is. Like her power is in her intelligence, is in her tech skills. She's very smart and she knows it, and she's not letting things get in the way of her using it, despite the fact that there's a billion things in the way to do it. And my comparison, Tyler freaking Perry.
Okay.
But
so yes.
Love Tyler Perry because they're like, he's telling our story. It speaks to my experience. I can watch Tyler Perry and be like, what the fuck? Like, why? I watched Ironheart and I'm like, that's me. That's me. Like, I love this. Like her experience trying to get her suit done or use her intelligence to help her community. It feels like my experience writing and wanting to get my book out and wanting to actually write the book.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get me into crime or anything.
Yeah. No spoilers, but yeah.
No. I mean, I do feel a little guilty that I am published with Amazon because Bezos. But I mean, and that's the evil thing that I have to go through in order to get what I want, because I don't have the resources to pay to print and ship and all the other stuff. So I have to go through a not so reputable, legally they're reputable, but socially and morally they're not.
Yeah.
So it does feel more relatable than, Lord help me. My abusive boyfriend and all this.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Most of the Tyler Perry stuff, you know what's funny? Most of the Tyler Perry stuff I've never related to, but he's just turning those gospel plays into movies. He's taking like all of the plots of the gospel plays and turning them into movies. They're not good, but it's like the combination. It's like the difference between what they call candy pop and pop music, and then like deep R&B, and then blues. You got varying degrees that touch a lot of different people, but the candy pop is the fast stuff that you consume real quick. There's no depth to it, but you know, people get emotionally connected to it, and then you just like make some new shit, you know?
Right.
And
Whereas Tyler Perry is like the candy pop, but
yeah,
you really have to think and put and understand the nuance. You have to live the nuance.
no,
of
what are
I
you talking about? Nuance and thinking and Tyler Perry? Why?
No, I said no.
Sorry.
With Tyler Perry, you have to think, and I've barely ever seen any of the movies. If I've seen the only movie that I've actually sat through was the Halloween one, which was a comedy.
Mm,
Okay, whatever.
yeah.
And that's because I was at work. But um, but as a kid, my mom watched the plays before he even started making movies, and the only thing that I thought was done well in any of them was them people could sing. Right, they were
Yeah.
talented singers.
Yeah, gospel.
I'm a very good singer. I'm like, how do you? I don't understand. Even back then, how do you do a play where you're dressed up as a woman and have to wear a wig? You can't find anyone to put that wig on right on you.
Nah, he wants to play that character. That's his character.
If you need like y'all, somebody in your congregation knows how to put a wig on right.
He's making fun of people in his congregation.
I know.
He's calling like he is a stereo. Anyway, let's
I guess
let's shift focus. and honestly, let's go ahead and get out of here because
yeah.
you know, we need to get ready. I gotta pack for Chicago, so
Yeah.
so are there any final thoughts, or is there anything cool that you got going on, or how do people need to get in touch or follow you?
I will hopefully be posting more on my YouTube channel, so you can follow that, Mel's Rebellion, and you can find it on my website, melsrebellion.com. And don't forget, I have a book out that you can read. It's an ebook. If you have Amazon Unlimited, it's free.
Oh,
So-
nice.
Yeah, I would love to get your reviews. I would absolutely love it. And if you write a review, I will respond.
Oh, nice.
I will thank you personally.
Yeah. And I'm Legendary Black Lion. You can follow me on Instagram at Legendary Black Lion. I may be making my return to TikTok after this trip to Chicago, so I'll give myself a little bit of time to think, and then I will start talking to folks. And on TikTok, I'm Legendary Black Lion, so y'all can go ahead and start following me there. And then Voices in Hyperspace, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, all at Voices in Hyperspace. Go ahead and give us a follow, and let's keep the conversation going. Also, you guys got some recommendations for shows that you think would be good to hear our opinions on. Go ahead and drop them in the chats, and we'll take a look at those. So yeah. For those of you who do celebrate, enjoy your holiday. For those of you who don't, I totally understand. And in the meantime, enjoy the weekend. We're gonna enjoy ours. We'll get some sci-fi in our lives. And until next week, we'll see you out there. Peace out.